Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you're at right now. I see we have some West Coast early birds. Robert and Elizabeth have tuned in to join us. Awesome to see your names and faces. So let's get started here for this week's Sketchbook Skool Student Bulletin. So thanks for tuning in. I also see John, excellent. Got a Midwesterner, fellow Midwesterner representing. Awesome. So I hope everyone has had a great week. Another Midwesterner, actually, a little Wisconsinite in Germany. Cool. So we've got a lot of people, which is great. A lot of places represented, which is awesome. I hope those of you in the Midwest are not too snowed in. We've gotten a little bit of a reprieve here in Ohio. It's only in the 40s, so it's not that bad. But you Wisconsinites might be buried under snow right now, so I hope that you're staying warm. Anyway, it has been a really busy week at Sketchbook Skool for all of us. Kind of just some school news. I was actually out of town last weekend for a long weekend, scouting out our SketchCon location for 2019. We have selected a location for SketchCon. We are waiting on the ink to dry, so to speak, on a venue. But we'll be letting you guys know in the next couple weeks exactly where we're going to be. I can tell you it's going to be in October, and we have found our location on the East Coast. So stay tuned for an update about that. Also at Sketchbook Skool, sort of in the schoolhouse behind the scenes, Danny and Kosha are producing our upcoming brand new course, People Drawing People. We will have dates, Catherine, very soon. So sorry, I just don't want to tell you guys the wrong date and then have something change at the last minute. So we will reveal that very soon. It's definitely in October, Catherine, but we will let you know very soon. But next week in New York, actually, Danny and Kosha are going to be producing, they're going to finish work on our newest class that's coming out soon, which is going to be about drawing people. And it seems like there's been a lot of interest in portraiture and drawing people and selfies. So I'm actually in Ohio, Elizabeth. That's where I'm at right now, in my home office, which is the Sketchbook Skool Columbus headquarters. But yeah, so Danny and Kosha are working on a brand new class next week, all week. They're going to be together in New York, and we're super excited for what they're producing. And I think that you guys will see some behind-the-scenes footage soon enough of what's been going on behind the scenes for the production of a new course. So get excited for that. We're also about to release a remix course soon in March called Fun and Funny. And that course is going to be really about putting the fun and humor back in your sketchbook. So that's going to feature our content from Nellika Verhoef, Danny Gregory himself, Sabine Wisman, and Brian Butler. So we're going to have Fun and Funny available in March as our next remix course. So stay tuned for that. And in class, some class news, we've seen some amazing artwork in the galleries in some of our on-demand courses. And one student has been working her way through, Grace, that would be an easy drive for me too, Ohio SketchCon. But maybe that's not where we're going to be for this coming year. But there will be some Ohio meetups, so stay tuned, Grace. But in class, one of our students, Melanie, or Melaine, I don't want to say your name wrong, but she has been creating some amazing artwork in a zillion ways to fill your sketchbook. And I just want to show one of her images because I love that she did sort of a reportage kind of on-site drawing of a vertical garden in her apartment. And I love the idea that, you know, she didn't have to go to a garden outside. She didn't even have to have a backyard to draw this lovely diagram of what they're growing, you know, in her apartment. So I thought this was a really cool use of drawing to kind of document, you know, an on-site garden that maybe doesn't look like a typical sprawling green garden that you would expect. So thanks, Melaine, for sharing what you're doing in our Zillion Ways course. Oh, and looks like someone is in Columbus currently, Matthew. Welcome to Columbus. I hope you're having a good time here for work, it looks like. That's great. And in other classroom news, one of our other students is actually working on homework in the Find Your Style course, and it's Charmin. I wanted to share her drawing that she did as a culminating assignment in Find Your Style. So she actually illustrated a quote about music and then threw in some portraits of musicians and singers. And she added that with a really splashy background. And I love what she did with this page and this layout. So Nice work, Charmin. You're doing some great drawings in Find Your Style, one of our current on-demand courses. So thanks for sharing that with us. One of the questions that came up, so moving to the Facebook group now, one of the questions we had this past week was from Michelle, and she actually asked about drawing in the car. How people find time to sketch in the car and how they set it up, to be really well set for a drawing. And people had some great tips and suggestions for her. And I think it's a lot simpler than maybe we think. And it's a perfect time to draw. Because oftentimes we spend a lot of time waiting in our cars, for those of us that commute via car. Whether it's before or after appointments, or, waiting to meet someone, or dropping a kid off at practice. We spend a lot of time in vehicles. So some of the tips that people had were to use the steering wheel as a table. And I would say from personal experience, don't press too hard or else you're going to scare the heck out of people around you and honk your horn. But yeah, use that steering wheel as a support for drawing if you have a little sketchbook on you when you're waiting in the car, if you're the driver, and when the car is not moving, obviously. Also using cup holders to your advantage. So cup holders are your friend when you're sketching in your car. Cup holders, center consoles, these are great things to kind of set up in, whether you're setting your watercolor down or water if you're not using a water brush. So definitely if you're sketching in the car, use your cup holders around you. And also using it as a chance to challenge yourself to try maybe dry media that you haven't used before or that you don't use often. I like to use colored pencils in the car. I don't normally draw with colored pencils, but I have these chunky neon colored pencils that I've been really excited about. And I thought about using just dry media that are easy to pick up quickly and don't have to dry. So the car could be sort of your space for experimenting with easy tools that maybe you don't use often. So those were some great tips. And then Kathy actually shared an image that she did in the car while waiting outside of a venue, a building. And even though it's raining, it was kind of a nice drawing. She did some stuff around her, did some lettering. Nellie, great suggestion. Nellie has a small tray that she uses in her car for drawing, which is great, something you can stash in your glove box or under your seat for drawing specifically. But yeah, so thanks to you guys for sharing your tips for car sketching. And Kathy, thanks for sharing a lovely drawing that you did while in the car. Also in the Facebook group, just in terms of what kind of art we've been seeing lately, a few students have been focusing on mindfulness and meditation, regarding drawing and meditation and drawing as meditation. And I loved that Nancy actually told this story, about meditation, and she's working on this meditation challenge, daily meditation. And one of the meditation prompts was to picture herself kind of out of her body and looking down on where she was sitting, what the surroundings looked like. And so she actually made that into a drawing. I love that she was able to draw herself from this perspective, because I think it's kind of unique because you don't often draw a room from above. So I thought that was really fun, and it made me think about some of the things I do for mindfulness and how I could kind of incorporate drawing as a meditation. So you could actually be literal and draw what you see when meditating, like Nancy did, which I think is a really cool perspective. Or you could just draw things around you as a meditation. Joanna just mentioned picking up a random object, which was a dog toy, for her sort of end-of-day meditation on drawing. So she likes to spend time with her partner and her dog, in their apartment, and just grabbing an object nearby and studying it from all sides. It's just a quick and easy little mindful practice that she can do. And she can just work on contour line and watercolor in sort of a low-pressure way. Really just thinking about the drawing as an act of drawing and not being too worried about the outcome or if the subject is good enough. So I love that idea of just drawing objects around you, which we often do, but as a meditation practice and just a moment in your day to pause. And it doesn't matter what the object is. It could be anything. It could be a pen, or it could be your sketchbook or your feet. Whatever it is, I think using drawing as a meditation is something that a lot of us find pretty relaxing. So you should give it a try if you haven't thought of drawing as a mindfulness practice yet. So let's see, what else? For meetups, every week I love promoting the meetups that are happening in our community. And so we have 2 happening this weekend. And I double checked my time zones. What was happening last week was I was looking at the time zone that Facebook was converting so that it would be in Eastern. But I double checked and triple checked the times on these. So to the organizers that have been watching these bulletins, please let me know if I garbled the time zone. But we have a meetup on Sunday happening in Gold Beach, Oregon. Elizabeth and Suzanne are going to be putting this one on again at Rachel's Coffee House. So if you're in that area, definitely check it out on the 24th. Also on the 24th, Valerie is going to be meeting up with the Bishop Urban Sketchers. She's hosting again. But they're going to be at the Mountain Rambler Brewery, which I love the idea of sketching in a brewery because you have all these big machines and tanks and things that are used for brewing beer that I think would make really cool subjects. So even if you're not in Bishop, California, maybe checking out a local brewery with a friend or a significant other this weekend could be an option for a drawing subject. So these are the meetups happening this weekend, and we've got some exciting ones coming up in March too, in some new locations. So tune in next week, and I'll be sharing some meetups happening in March that are going to be in some new spots that we haven't checked out yet. So thank you to everyone who tuned in, and I hope everyone has an awesome weekend and that you share with us in the group what you're going to be working on. Every week my favorite post is asking what everyone's doing for the weekend and then seeing tons of comments about the creative things that you all are getting into. So be sure to share those with us in the group. Show us what you're making, what you're drawing, and I hope you have a really creative weekend and that I see you back here next week. Thanks for tuning in, and happy Friday.